Hey guys, I've got a very exciting tutorial for you today. This is a really cool bracelet, and I've had a lot of requests over the years on how to do it. So here it is. And this particular one is going to have a slide knot on the end. It's going to be a coil. Let me find the one that I made with that has the it's a coil knot and it's made with faux leather. So you could either use a 0.5 millimeter faux leather or a 0.8 millimeter. But the materials I'm using are the wax jewelry cord in the 1/2 mil. This is a 0.5. And the beads, let me tell you, you need a 6 millimeter or smaller because you don't want to use an 8 millimeter because it comes out really floppy. Because I've made these with 8 millimeter beads and I just didn't like the way it was just weird and floppy because you need that a lot of these zigzags in here to make the bracelet like kind of like stiff. And the only other thing you might need is a lighter. And I have here a couple of large hole beads that I'm going to use to put on the ends. But, you know, once you learn this technique, you can get really creative. Like on this one, you know, the end part, when I was finishing it, I just made it longer. And then it allowed me to, you know, add, you know, like little dangles like this. But I'm just going to do the basic tutorial just so you guys can get the idea of how to do this. So the board I'm going to be using is the big one. Let me move all this aside. Here we go. And you're going to need a clip right at 0, and then you're going to need 2 clips, like just probably like spaced about, you know, one right in that spot and then another one here. But if it's a little bit wider, you know, that doesn't matter. So what you do is with your wax jewelry cord, measure out 2 40-inch strand. So this is the first one, and then you do a second one. There's number 1, and then number 2. 1 and 2. And then the other one is going to be a double. It's going to be like 80 inches. And let me talk about the anatomy of this, because these shorter strands here, these are going to be the cords that we actually string the beads onto. And then the other one is going to be the one that we actually do the weaving with. So that's why that one needs to be longer. And if you make I mean, sometimes the lengths you need are going to vary, only because, you know, if you're making something like a necklace, it's longer, or if you have a larger wrist. But these measurements that I'm giving you, you can make, I think, up to like an 8-inch, and you'll be fine. Okay, so here we go. So here is the one that we're weaving with, and this is going to be the ones that we actually put the beads onto. Okay, so the next step, let me just move one of these beads over here, is the ends of all 3, we're going to line them up. And on this part, just kind of like bear with me. So you're going to line them up just like that. Just try to keep these guys like separated. Only because I've done this many, many times, and for some reason I find that if I just keep them separated, there's an issue that is like eliminated. I don't know how to explain it, but so you just grab all of them right here while these 3 are separated, and then you clip it into a clip, and we are going to make an overhand knot. Because I found that if I just grab all 3 and make an overhand knot, these guys here, they get so weirdly tangled in each other that it's kind of crazy. I don't know how to explain it. So remember, 7 inches in, and then you could take one of your pegs, or just, you know, anything like handy that you could take a peg. And then right here, you're going to make an overhand knot. Just right in there. So let's get that nice and tight. And then when you take this off, just make sure to keep those 3 strands separate and just make it nice and tight. Just like that. Okay, so Now the fun part. Which side should we do first? Yeah, let's just do this part. Okay, so what you're gonna do, because this part here is going to be the this end part, and I like to make these 2 inches long. So since there are 6 threads in here, I'm going to divide them into groups of 2, 2, and 2. See that? And now I'm going to braid them. And for those of you that aren't sure how to braid cord, you just hold it and it's one, you just count. And this one, I'm not counting, like, usually I put beads on my braiding, but for something like this, I just braid and just make sure it's nice and tight. So I just, as you can see, I use the pads of my fingers a lot. I just crisscross, grab, crisscross. It just helps keep the braid nice, tight, and straight. And I'm kind of like pulling on it a little bit. And I just keep braiding. And when I think it's about 2 inches long, I'll measure it. And then what do I do? Oh, then I put my large hole bead on the end. Okay. And I think I counted earlier, and I think it was like 30 like ends that gave me that the braid. But you know what? Don't listen to me because I could be wrong. But just the best thing to do is just to take it off and just measure to see, is it 2 inches? Okay, perfect. See that? It goes from 7 to 9, so perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take all these right here, and then I'm going to put an overhand knot right in here, just like this. So I'm going to grab all these cords and knot it right there. Get it nice and tight. And then I'm going to kind of bundle these guys up, and then I'm going to put one of those large hole beads through. I hope these fit. Sometimes if you kind of squish, I mean, it might be that I'm going to need a whole new large hole bead. I mean, if this one doesn't fit, I'll just try a different one. Just kind of squish them down and fingers crossed. And they look like they will fit. You know what? Let me just trim these more at an angle. Because sometimes it's hard to get, when they're all a bunch of different lengths, it's kind of hard to like get them all in. So if you sometimes you just kind of crush it down. And since it's got wax, you just want to like get your fingers in there to kind of warm it up, squish it. Okay, let's see. We got it there. Oh, come on. No. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get a different large hole bead. Let's see what we got here. I thought I saw one. Oh, there's one. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Oh, that's a lot better. I mean, sometimes, you just got to like dig into your stash of large hole beads and find one that works, because they're not all always going to work, even though they've got large holes. So now the second thing you want to do is we're going to be putting another overhand knot right in here. That's like when you need all that extra cord, because without that extra cord, you won't be able to make the knot right at the end. And if you have trouble like getting that knot like close up to the bead, you could just take a peg or a knotting awl and just really get that in. Okay, so now we've got this part done. And before I finish the bracelet, I'll just trim right in here and then use a lighter to melt it down. So let's do the rest of the bracelet. I really like making these. It's fun, and it doesn't take that much time. And the only reason this one's taking a little more time is because I'm using a thinner cord and I'm doubling it. But you could also use the regular wax jewelry cord, the 0.9, and just string it straight onto the cord without doing this extra step that I'm doing. It's just that sometimes it just gives a slightly different look to your work. So let's see. So we're going to get these cords now. We're going to get them nice and laid out. So this this weaving cord, we want it on the right-hand side. So let's flip this over. Kind of just twist it till this cord is on the right side. So let's toss that over to the edge there. And now we have these two guys. And now we are going to string some beads on. But that's where that leadered needle comes in really handy, because sometimes trying to like string beads onto a folded end is not very easy. And other times, yeah, you can add one of those large-eyed needles, but sometimes that needle itself becomes the problem. So let me just cut this, and I'm going to attach the needle. And one nice thing about this specific project, it's very forgiving. So like, let's say you don't put enough beads on there, it's real easy to add more. So let me just tie that on. So I just put, for this one, I just made an overhand knot. I fed the needle on just like this. And now I'm going to string on the beads. So one thing I really like about the leader needle is that since the needle is so nice and straight, see that? You know, you can string your beads on a lot faster. So let's get those on. And the number, like I said, the numbers that you use, it's going to just depend on, you know, the length that you're making it. So, oops. Okay, let me get, and I'll go real slow so you guys could like see exactly what I'm doing. If at this point you want to speed up, I don't blame you. But this video that I'm making right now, I'm not going to edit it because I want to get it to you guys as quickly as possible. So you could just like zoom past this. Okay, so what I do at this point, there are a couple of things you could do. You could either just leave this leader needle on because you might need it, or you could just cut it off and reuse it. I think I'm just going to grab another one. Let me see what I got here. Huh. I know I haven't. You know what? I can't. Oh, there's another one. I'm just going to grab another one and just put one on each. So that way, if I need to add more beads, I don't have to take it off and then put it back on again. And, you know, if you don't know about these guys, I make them long so that way I could reuse them. So, because there's no point making them and then, you know, a short length and then having to remake them every time you need to need one. So I just, when I cut it off right at the knot. Okay, so now we've got this one. And let's get some beads on this side. Okay. And another thing, you don't have to use the waxed cord. I'm just using it because I like the way it looks. You could use like thinner cord. And another cool tip is you could see that the weaving cord is like separate from these two guys here. So you could actually have a different cord on the inside. But see, when you do that, it requires a different finishing technique. So, which I do not have any instructions for that yet. Okay, so there we have our two strands of, let me clean this up a bit. So what I like to do, let's get this back here. Let's get it set up. I like to take a couple of scraps of like the faux leather, and that's going to help hold the cord while we work. So you'll see. So right in here, I'm going to put one of these guys, and it looks like, let's see, I'm going to have to go here. And then the other one, I'll have to make it a little bit longer. Okay, let's do that. And I'll show you like how it's set up. So what I'm doing is see since this cord has that bend in there, I'm going to put some string or cord right in there, and I'm going to use it to anchor it to a clip. Actually, I should put the long one on this side. Let's do that. So here's that one. There we go. That's better. So clip that. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So we'll feed some cord in here and then clip this. Just like that. Okay, perfect. I mean, ideally, I don't know why one of these ended up longer than the other. I guess I must have like cut it funny. But ideally, you want them to be the same length, but for the purpose of this, it's not going to matter. Okay, so now this next step, we're going to start. This is important. Okay. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, see right in here? See that part? Let's look at it focused. Right here, we need to do like several of these zigzag knots because if we don't, if we just start making it, there's going to be this weird gap right in here and it's not going to look right. So what you do is you take your cord and you make like a letter, like I guess like a number 4. See that? It's like a nut. I use my finger. I just put it right in there and I use it as a guide. And then you just bring the cord under and you pull it through and then you just repeat that. So there's 1, 2, whoops. Well, you know, when you're making anything with cord, if it gets tangled in anything, I mean, it will get tangled in everything. So there's 2, 3. And the really important, the number that you do is going to depend on the size of the beads you're using. So if it's a smaller bead, you don't have to do this as many times. But if it's a larger bead, you just keep going. And I'll show you like what the guide is. So when you slide your first bead up, you want this to go like all the way around. So let's keep going. Okay. So there's that. And like I said, I'm doing like a number 4, like this. And then I'm feeding it under, but just on this side only. And if your cords get loose because you're pulling on it, you could always just retension it, just pull it back and say, hey, behave. Okay. So let's do this one. Okay. Now let's slide a bead up and like take a look. Okay. Let me focus. Okay, is that good? Should I do one more? Okay, I think that's perfect. Okay, so now the fun begins. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is I don't want you guys to get confused, so I'm going to do this as slowly as possible. Okay, so you slide a bead up, right? And then with this cord, you're going to be doing like this. It's either going to be going this way or you put your finger in and then going that way. So it's going to be like the same step, but just kind of like backwards. Let me make sure to have this like really focused. Okay. So we're going to do the first one. So at first it's like the 4, and now it's going to be like, I guess like what letter is that? Like a P? So I use my finger. I'm just going to come in here and then I'm going to bring it down the middle. And then I'm going to tighten it. See that? And then I'm going to slide a bead up and then just bring it like over and under the right side. Then you just want to kind of snug it. And then you do the next side. And then it's, see, like this side's the 4, this side is the P. Okay, so I'm using my finger and I'm going to bring it over and under and then pull. And then you just make sure, let's get this free. And when I tighten, don't pull that way, pull like towards the middle because you want it to like be as snug as possible. See that? Okay, so now we do this one. Okay. See how when I tighten, this knot gets like tightened that way, and then this one gets tightened the other way. See that? And there are some cool things that you can do. You could do like 3 zigzag stitches or whatever they're called. I don't know. If anyone knows, send me an email. It is not a snake knot. That's a different thing. But you can make like bundles and then, start with your beads again. It looks really, really cool. So you could just kind of experiment. I mean, it's really fun. And I like this one because it's actually, considering that it looks complicated, it's actually pretty easy. And it's kind of fun. It's relaxing. This is probably and if it gets kind of wonky like this, just pull on both cords just to like get it straight. See that? Okay. And I'm trying to think of like any like troubleshooting techniques. I don't think there are. This is like pretty much a trouble-free type bracelet. And the nice thing is once you get the hang of it, you know, especially if you're not doubling your cord, they literally take like less than 20 minutes to make. And they just look really, really cool. And you can add like pendants and stuff like charms along the way if you want, but this one's going to be just just I'll just start going slow just in case, some of you are like not being able to follow. So the, like the number 4 and under, and then we're going to do the P, like the letter P, and then under, and then tighten. Don't forget to tighten. Or else, I don't think I have any examples of where I didn't tighten very well, but it definitely makes it look a lot better. And this one I did with S-Lon, so you could use S-Lon if you want. I mean, just you can just experiment away. I just like one thing I like about the waxed jewelry cord for this is that it doesn't have a shiny finish. It's like very matte, and it just lends itself nicely to this technique. So let's tighten, slide, and then here's this side, slide, and then that one. And regardless of the size you make it here, well, if it's, okay, I take that back. I always, since I do sell these, I always aim for like 10 inches, which will be 6 inches of like woven beads and then 2 inches on the ends, 2 inches here, 2 inches here. And adjustable. And that's because, since it is adjustable, it'll fit like more wrist sizes. But if of course if you're making it for someone that has like a larger size wrist, just make sure to make this part like let's say 7 inches and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this total part will be 11 inches long, and you can like put all kinds of beads and I mean just amazing. This is a really fun one. And what I do is I just keep going until I get to 6 inches. So let's see, right now, I'll just do this like quickly. That one, slide it up. Slide like a number 4 and then under. Slide like a P. And these cords are always, like when the first time you do it, it's always going to be on top. So tighten, slide, right. And I've done some, let me see if I could find that one that I did that, let me, just real quick. It was really, really cool. I don't see it. Hmm. But it had like a really cool pattern. Oh, oh well, I can't find it. That's all right. Okay. And see, like here, you could see I ran out of beads. See that? But the good thing is it's going to be really easy just to add them on because I left that needle on. Okay, so I'm going to put some more. Come back here and grab a handful. Get those on. All right. Okay, let's get that scrap back in there and then we will finish. Okay, let's just keep going. We're almost finished. Yeah, you know, I've been doing this for less than, I don't have my timer, but it's you can see it's pretty quick. Slide it. There's like a number 4 and under. Slide that one and then make like a letter P and under. Okay, let me get a peg because we're getting really close to we're getting close to 6. I like to put a peg in there and okay, I think I could put another bead. So that way I don't have to like take it off. I think one more. There's always like, you know, you just gotta kind of like eyeball it. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it. So there we have 6. Okay, perfect. Okay, now what you have to do, remember that bundling that we did the first time? Now we're gonna have to do it again. So on this side, you just keep doing several of those like number 4s. See that? Let me scoot up. Just like this. You're not going to have to do as many this time. You just kind of look at it until it looks like it's even. I'm going to do one more. Okay, so there we have that. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we could take all this stuff off. And like I said, I do save my leadered needles, so when I remove them, I will cut it. And I always have magnets everywhere, so I just have a magnet handy here, and I just plop it on the magnet. And let me get this one off too. Okay. Don't you just love scissors that don't cut? Okay, there's that one. And now we could take these beads off. We don't need those anymore. Okay, so now, so what we're going to do is everything we did on this end, we're going to do on the opposite end. So let me just clip this, and we're going to get those in a bundle of 3. And now we are going to braid. Let me get this focused. Uh-oh. Come on. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to, like, let's see if that 30 that I thought was 2 inches actually is. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, is it 2 inches? No. 30, 33, 34, 35, 36, 38. Is that 2 inches? No. Is it? No. 39, 45, 46? Ooh. 46. So if you count 46 in, that'll give you 2 inches. And let me, just to make 100% sure, you could see right there. Let me get this. Okay, so we got that right. Why is this not focusing? Over here. Okay, there we go. So right at 6 to 8. I'm going to do like 2 more. 1, 2. Okay. So now what you do is like right in here, we are going to make an overhand knot, just like we did on the last one. Let's get all those threads bundled together and flip them all through. And before you tighten it, one thing, because see how like all the cords are kind of like they're not equalized. So before I actually tighten it down, I like to make sure that all those cords are like, and it's easy to do with this because each of these cords has like a loop on the end, so you just pull. See that? That's perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna slide it out and then tighten it. Just get it nice and super tight. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to get that large hole bead on. Let me see, I've got another one here. So, and I think, let me, just in case you guys need to know, let me measure the size of the hole. So that way, if you're looking to make exactly the same bracelet, you know that it's right here, it's measuring a 2.36. So I don't know why they make these things like strange sizes. Okay, so what do we got? We need to feed all these on. These are horrible. Ugh. Try these guys. Okay. Yeah, these are just as bad. Oh well. Okay, so we're gonna twist. Just kind of get them all bundled, just like that. And then we're gonna feed it through that large hole bead. And let's zoom in. Slide it up. And then we're going to do the same thing where we make an overhand knot. Just right there. Put the post in, just like that, and then tighten it and make sure all the threads are like even before you actually tighten it. Okay, so it's nice. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do, and I've got some like cool tips for this next part. We are going to be adding the slide knot. We're going to crisscross these ends over and then put the slide knot right here. So what you do is you reposition your clips. Okay, and one thing I like to do, I don't know why, but I like to take a peg and just kind of squish these out a bit. Just kind of make them nice and flat. Or, I mean, if you're feeling like, you know, like easy bake oven type stuff, you could do pretend like it's a little tiny um, rolling pin. And another thing you can do, you know, if you don't feel comfortable like squishing your cord with, you know, anything, you could actually put something on top of it and then just squish it down like that. So that way it's not coming in contact with the cord. I've done that. I don't know which cord it was, but I mean, for this cord, you know, this happens to work just fine. Okay, so what we're gonna do, actually, I don't want to melt those ends off because they look pretty cool. So, okay, we're gonna like stretch these out so they're straight, and then I'm gonna crisscross them over and stack them on top of each other, nice and flat. You might have to like twist this a little bit. So there's that one, and then like put this one right on top of it. Okay, that's good. So let's clip that in, and this one right in there. Okay, perfect. So basically I've crisscrossed. See that? Nice and flat, stacked. Okay, so now I'm going to take, oh, maybe 6 inches of the faux leather. So let's get that. I just measured it, 6 inches right there. And I'm going to put a coil knot. Let me just adjust here. Okay, so what I do is I take a peg and I just use that peg as like a guide. It's gonna wrap. Let me focus. Okay, perfect. And on this one, I'm doing it like a slightly larger than usual coil knot. I don't know why, but I've made this bracelet so many times that I've noticed that a slightly larger coil knot works better. And I will show you how to make sure it knots properly. Okay, so let's hold this aside, and then we have to get that other side through. All right, just like that. Okay. So when you squish it, see how these end parts are trying to like tighten? All you got to do is like pinch it, and what it does is it redisperses the tension. So you squeeze, pull, and then get your fingers and squeeze and like squish, and then tighten and squish. And just keep. And this one, I mean, I don't know how strong some of you are, but it doesn't, you want it very, very snug. I mean, it doesn't have to be like death grip tight, but like just very, very snug. Okay, so now the next step, this is a tricky one because normally when I make this kind of knot, it's not, because you're gonna have to melt these ends, but you don't want this part of your cord to melt. You do not want melt spots on here because normally when I make a knot like this, it's just on a different part that's going to get cut off anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I do have a way that I do this, and you can do it if you feel comfortable doing it, but if you don't, then I think you can use like aluminum foil or, just something, because what you need to do before you melt it, you need to get something right in here to set, so while you're melting this part, it never touches here. So what do I do? Let's see, let's cut this first. Okay. And just, you could take like a single edge razor, and what I did, I don't know where the one that I actually what I did is I got one of these guys, and I ran it over a lot of sandpaper so that it's not sharp. So it's got like a flat end, but it's not sharp, so you can't cut yourself. So if you could take sandpaper and just run it back and forth so it won't cut you, then maybe we can try this. Look, we got a ruler over here that's like a metal. Just anything that's super nice and flat that you can get in. Actually, I think this is too thick, but let me try it. I don't know, but I'll just basically show you how I do this. So I'm gonna trim it a little bit shorter. Okay. What I do is I just barely, super gently like hold this right in there. And I'm not putting a lot of, it's just so gentle because you don't want to cut it. And all you want to do is get this part like separated. So then I hold that just like this, and then I come in with my lighter. And don't hold your lighter at an angle. You want the flame like to go like straight up. See, like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Then you blow and then you let it cool off, but do not tap it down because you need that round ball to help keep this knot from coming apart. So once it's cooled off, take it off and it'll look like that. See how it didn't melt this part? Okay, so let's do the other side. And one reason you want to do this knot extra tight, see how that knot looks like it's too far away from this main part? Once you open and close it a few times, it's going to like this knot will kind of go back in and it won't stick out so much. Okay, so let's do this side. So gently with your, and this is going to take practice because it took me like a long time to like just make it feel like right in my hand. Let me cut this first. So let's trim this. I'm going to put this right in here. And then melt. Blow. So it doesn't burn. The only reason I tapped it down just a little teeny smidgen because it had like a little point on top, but now that point is gone. So then what I do is I open and close it a few times and you'll see that just open and close. Remember how the knot was sticking out? Now it's like kind of like in more in where it's supposed to be. And let's see, should to cut or not to cut the ends? Actually, I kind of sort of like how the ends look. Ooh, this is where things get tough. Really, really tough. Okay, so I do like that. Well, guys, I am going to let you decide what to do. I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to melt them down. Because since I don't have any glue in here, it's possible that over time it could come undone. So if you're using a different kind of cord and you can put glue on it, that's good. But usually I don't put glue with a wax cord because I don't know. To me, it just doesn't sound like I don't see the point in putting any kind of glue on a wax cord since it's not going to stick anyway because glue sticks to like surfaces that don't have wax. Okay, let's tap that down. All right. So that is it. Let me fix this a bit so you can see it. Whoops, wrong way. Oh, these are bright beads. I guess because they're so white. But that's it. That's how you do this. Anyway, so that is how I did like all of these. On this one, what I did was a regular macrame slide knot. You know, so if you prefer something like that, you can do that. And let's see, this one has a coil knot, but this is so dainty. So, you know, just practice, just try it, you know, all different kinds of, you know, shapes and sizes and colors, except as long as they're 6mm and below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you learned something new today. All right, guys, see ya.